We've known this man for several years. Not friends, we just crossed paths from time to time because we both like to drink at the same bar. I even found out his name only a couple of weeks ago when, however, I'm getting ahead of myself. It all happened one evening. I had barely entered the establishment and approached the counter when he came out of a dark corner to me. A man in his early 30s, unmarried, he worked as either a teacher or a librarian at a school. I don't remember that. But he was generally an erudite man, and you could always talk to him on various topics. I was surprised by his appearance. He hadn't been dressed to the nines before, but that time he looked especially sad, week-old stubble, carelessly dressed, with an anxious look, purple bags under his eyes and disheveled hair. Without further ado, sweating profusely, he handed me a crumpled notebook. "You collect mystery stories, don't you? On these pages is one of those. Read it, maybe it will help you." I was a little confused, but I took the manuscript. He smiled strangely, almost crazily, looked somewhere over my shoulder, and then unexpectedly ran outside, leaving me completely perplexed. A little later, I learned from the bartender that this man had been coming to the bar for 4 days in a row. Each time, he ordered a large mug of beer and sat for hours at a table, clutching a notebook in his hands. He rarely drank, so rarely that his drink ran out of steam every time. When I found out about this, I was intrigued. Having refused to drink that day, I said goodbye to the bartender, returned home and began to read. The syllable, of course, was muddled in places, but the content pulled me in without a trace. The pages of the notebook described a creepy creature that had been terrorizing its owner for years. Reading all the notes prompted me to start an independent study of the issue. I looked through all the bestiaries I had and found similar descriptions from several creatures at once, but it wasn't enough. I wanted to find out everything in person, so I returned to the bar several times a week. But according to the staff, since I received the notebook, its original owner has not been announced. And none of the visitors or employees of the establishment knew where he lived. Therefore, I contacted some of our circle and secretly told them what I had stumbled upon. Brother Egan and Brother Nikolai responded to my call and, just like me, began the search. After 2 months of working together, we finally know enough to share it with others. The attached manuscript includes the text from those very pages, supplemented by our research on the topic. This is by no means an instruction, it's just a warning. Have you ever had an unreasonable feeling of anxiety? Or a sharp deterioration in mood from scratch, although it would seem that everything is fine and there is no reason to worry? Or maybe you feel someone's presence when you're all alone. It is quite possible that this peeping man has his eye on you. A fly on the wall, a blurred silhouette in a photo, a strange passerby, even your own shadow, he will be anything to be around. But don't worry, you're not alone. It comes to everyone in one form or another. It's just that the experience of interacting with him is always different. There are lucky people who drive him away unconsciously, not even knowing that they have passed the threat. But if those are the ones he manages to cling to, then there's very little good. I know what I'm talking about. He's been actively following me for 5 long years. Initially, I just wrote down what was happening to me in a personal diary, but later it turned into something more than just taking notes. It became my life's research and work. Now that I know enough about this creature, I want to share it with you, my unknown reader. In this short guide, I will share my personal experience and try to tell you everything I could find out about this creature. Its appearance, methods, motives, and how, if not to defeat it, then at least to ward it off for a long time. I hope my research will be useful to someone. I think it's worth starting with the announcement of the basic known information to give you an idea of what exactly we are dealing with. Everyone has heard about him in one form or another, but only those who he is following now or have been following before are able to see him. Those whom he touched only tangentially consider him an invention and an excuse for unnecessary complaints. And you know, they can be understood. Many things are hard to believe until you come across them personally. And a peeping man is a surprisingly cunning creature. Despite how much technology has advanced, nothing can capture it. Cameras, microphones, thermal imagers, various spectrometers, all this is absolutely useless against him. So there is no direct evidence of its existence, except for the words of those who have encountered it. Adding complexity is the fact that its appearance will be difficult to fully describe because it does not have a permanent shape. All the victims describe him in different ways. Someone sees him as an old man with ulcers, someone as a badly broken woman who crouches and makes a crunching sound with every step, someone as a shaggy spider with a galaxy of eyes like stars. To me, he looked like a short, pale man with narrow shoulders, a swollen belly that looked like it was about to burst, making his body shape resemble a rotting pear. But there are common features that wander from form to form. His eyes are always predatory, yellow, sunken, and tired. On his face is an ostentatious, strained smile, trying to be friendly but in fact very repulsive. Black oily bile oozes from his mouth and eyes. In the chest, where the heart should be, there is a gaping hole with uneven edges. Regardless of its shape, the creature looks gaunt, ungainly, and its limbs are thin and disproportionate, as if slightly longer than they should be. When I saw him in the flesh for the first time, I was naturally scared, but not from his appearance as you might think, but rather from the images and thoughts that he began to send me. To be honest, his presence alone didn't cause me any emotions at all. For me, he was like an interior element that sometimes wanders somewhere nearby. A peeping man is scary not by his appearance, but by his influence on the mind of his target. He clouds perception, makes his presence the new norm. But even in my altered consciousness, I knew that something was wrong with me. So I started looking for information. Who is he? Why do I feel so bad? What does he want? How can this be stopped? And even though the monster interfered with me in every possible way, whispered nasty things, sent fatigue and laziness, I continued my search through force, although more than once I caught myself thinking that I wanted to give up everything and let it go. Finally, after a truly grueling week of collecting facts, I was able to piece together a piece of the picture. This monster has been known to mankind for centuries, and in all that time it has not changed its working pattern a bit. A peeping Tom chooses a target regardless of gender, age, or social status. It's all tinsel to him. The only thing that really attracts him is his fears, worries, and doubts. It feeds on the energy that we emit during times of stress.